Hi everyone, and thank you for joining today's Crystal Eye Essential Module 1 training. This session is the follow-on from the intro you would have received at either a Red Piranha partner or customer intro event, particularly our recent 4.5 roadshow. In the spirit of reconciliation, Red Piranha acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respect to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. My name is Dana Bennett, Business Development Manager here in Perth, Western Australia. With me, I have Ben Aylett, Red Piranha's Product Manager, and also a TV personality that many of you, particularly here in WA, may recognise. Ben started at Red Piranha as a partner and loved the solution so much, he joined the team. Raya, our Customer Success Manager, is manning the chat, so feel free to chime in on the right-hand side with any questions during the webinar. There will also be a Q&A section at the end if you would like to deep dive into any certain topics. So by now, you will all know Red Piranha as a multi-award winning Australian sovereign cybersecurity company, focused on bringing affordable enterprise-grade cyber protection to the mid-market. Officially launched in 2015, Red Piranha now has 70 employees and more than 400 partners across 5 continents. We recently won the Next Gen in XDR category at the Global InfoSec Awards, both this year and last year, RSA's conference in San Francisco. To complement our network detection and response solution, we have recently partnered with CSAT Australia to offer best-in-breed, fully managed endpoint protection. So now you have everything covered, offering true XDR capability. Today's session will dive further into the value you can get from Red Piranha from both professional services and, of course, our crown jewels, the Crystal Eye XDR platform. Now to get things underway, let me hand you over to our cyber expert and
Thanks
cyber
very much, Dana.
celebrity, Ben.
Yeah, we're going to have to do something about that cyber celebrity thing. It's a bit of a heavy mantle to carry. Anyway. So this is a slide here, just giving us an idea on the things we'll be trying to cover during this session. So as you can see, we've got a fair bit to cover, so let's just get into it. So the Red Piranha is known as an extended detection and response vendor. So we've developed our own XDR solution, and it's been designed to bring a suite of cybersecurity tools and functions under a single vendor offering, which is also known as CSMA or Cybersecurity Mesh Architecture. If you haven't heard this term before, you'll be seeing more of it as time goes on, and vendors will work to integrate multiple tools and functions under single product offerings. This is important as up until recently, good integrated security management systems typically consisted of like a bunch of different products from dozens of providers, which is it's costly, it's difficult to manage and integrate, and then there's the associated costs of retaining the engineering talent needed to keep this running. And of course, the inevitable blind spots that come with your disparate products in the technology stack. So XDR addresses this by integrating all the tools into a single platform. By including the services designed around the platform, the task of selecting, implementing, operating, and maintaining a fully serviced and compliant security solution has never been easier or more efficient. This is all underpinned with our Crystal Eye platform, which I'm going to describe later. The Red Piranha business model is centered around assisting businesses to develop their level of maturity around cybersecurity. And this starts out with the initial advisory services to ISO compliant systems and policies. Now, our services cover a range of functions and outcomes. Some are delivered as traditional standalone services, including digital forensics, incident response, network engineering, security training, vCISO, VPN, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, and general consulting services. Others leverage the Crystal Eye platform and efficiently bring managed services like integrated digital forensics, eCISO, vulnerability scanning, and more to the client and partner, giving peace of mind and improved delivery of service security outcomes. Sorry, I'm just caught up here. There we go. All right, the Crystal Eye range of appliances are some of the most powerful and feature-packed on the market. While we also focus on trying to keep that TCO in check. So we pride ourselves in using the latest hardware available, and currently we are now working to integrate Gen 13 hardware. So this has only just been released in the last few months, and we're now starting to do our design around this hardware. Now, our appliances are offered in 8 major lines. So these mean that we can cover pretty much any deployment, from an office of 5 to 10 users needing 100 megabits per second of secured throughput, through to major telco class implementations, looking at custom built solutions of able to handle up to 65 gigabits per second and beyond. We're actually working on breaking the 100 gigabits per second barrier. So very excited about that. Now, the XDR appliance selection is really straightforward. So the simple criteria we look at is throughput and user count. These are the two constraints that we really focus on, and it just makes the whole job of ordering your Crystal Eye appliance from Red Piranha so much simpler. Now, ordering can be done via the Red Piranha online store, or for more complex solutions, you can actually engage with your account manager, and we can actually assist with you submitting tenders or RFQs. So when it comes to managing sales, so sometimes you might have an end user or an end client that are kind of hands-off when it comes to the purchasing decisions around cybersecurity products. And coming from the MSP background, I can totally sympathize with this. So you're responsible for selecting and purchasing appliances, and we support this as well in the Orchestrate dashboard. So partners can actually be appointed as an authorized purchasing officer within the client organization under their Orchestrate account, and the partner can take a more active role in the actual selection and acquisition of Crystal Eye appliances. Now, this is important because it ensures that the product license is assigned to the client, which satisfies our legal and compliance requirements. So once ordered, the appliances are built to order and shipped within a target of 3 to 4 weeks. So we have seen this sort of adjust now and then because we've had logistics blowout, as we're all familiar with, but we do aim to keep within that 4-week delivery period. Okay, so what is Crystal Eye? It's a flexible platform that's been developed to integrate a wide range of tools and functions into a single solution. So for you, the partner or client, Crystal Eye is a single appliance that protects your network and gives you access to tools as needed and much more. There are over 150 servers that make up the Crystal Eye service delivery network, and they work in the background to help with scheduling, collate reports, do analysis, and of course, do the final reporting as well. So as you can see, we've got like a bit of an introduction on how these are deployed. So we've got our on-premise devices. There's also cloud-native appliances as well available. We do have endpoint applications, which are really helpful in locking down endpoints and also incident response, and of course VPN. And this all comes back to our XDR platform, which is made up of Orchestrate, CSOC, our integrated risk management team, and also threat intelligence, which I have to admit has been kicking some major goals lately. So our contribution to the global threat analysis has actually been quite good. We've been actually hitting the top 2 over the last couple of months. So very proud of that. So Crystal Eye bundles core functions. So this includes things like asset discovery and mapping, authentication, advanced firewall, intrusion detection and prevention, content filtering, and SD-WAN, to name a few. There are also some more advanced functions available, like application control, protocol filtering, DLP, secure web gateway, threat hunting, vulnerability scanning. This is something that really got my attention when I first saw Crystal Eye. True story, I'd actually finished doing my own vulnerability scanning platform about 2 weeks before I discovered Crystal Eye for the first time, and you can say I was kind of I was a little annoyed that it took so long for me to discover Crystal Eye, because I would have gone for that straight away. It's a lot of work trying to build your own vulnerability scanning system. Now, all of these tools work in concert to increase your visibility, reduce dwell time, which is now starting to shorten very drastically. So we've got to get the detection really on point in our response. And this also assists in delivering on compliance goals. So if you have compliance goals or you need to produce a report, in most cases, it's as simple as clicking a button and generating a report just to say, yes, yeah, Mr. Auditor, we've got compliance sorted out. Now, we've actually got a proven track record that Crystal Eye can drastically reduce our exposure. With direct integration into the Red Piranha SIEM and constant Security Operations Center monitoring, we have detected, responded, addressed, reported, and closed a potential breach within 24 minutes, compared to the typical industry dwell time of, well, I mean, a couple of years ago, it was 12 to 18 months. Now that's getting a bit shorter. We're seeing dwell times of 9 months down to 6 months, and it's actually getting quicker and quicker. So the attackers are really turning around on their initial infection and gaining a foothold to actually executing their payload. Okay. Now, as I mentioned before, we do have cloud deployments. So we do have these cloud-ready solutions, and they're available for various deployments. So we've got our localized POPs, which we offer. We've also got AWS. We've just completed the 4.5 integration into the AWS infrastructure, and we're working on Azure environments as well. In fact, if you come back next week, where we do our Crystal Eye Essentials Module 2, I'll be proud to show you guys a new tool that leverages Microsoft's existing cybersecurity tool set for Azure instances or tenancies. And we are actually taking that telemetry and we're delivering it to the Crystal Eye appliance that's on premise. Now, licensing is one of those areas of concern for the partner and the client, as it can be confusing and may contain unexpected surprises. Red Piranha's licensing is straightforward and only requires additional purchase of value-added services like backup, digital forensics, eCISO, incident response, threat hunting, packet capture analysis services, and vulnerability scanning. The Crystal Eye appliance by default includes the software license and Silver SIEM subscription for 12 months. So Silver SIEM, it monitors for the device being present and connected, and just like the really basic monitoring. So this is provided on the assumption that the MSP will be doing a lot of the analysis and sort of watching the system. You can upgrade to other SIEM offerings where the Security Operations Center will actually take a more proactive approach in monitoring and then also in actually conducting incident responses. So that's how we've managed to drive the response time down to 24 minutes. Okay. Alrighty, and this is going back to the SIEM. So you've got the levels of SIEM here. So we've got our silver, which is default. You've got gold and platinum. So obviously with a more complete SIEM level, the more work is picked up by the Crystal Eye Security Operations team. We also have our managed endpoint protection, and this is provided by our technology partners ESET. So this is something we've been doing for a while, but we're now distributors for ESET in the Australia Pacific region. Oceania? Yeah, I think it's Oceania as well. But yeah, we're very, very pleased to have ESET on board. Right, now licensing a device is a key part of the process, and it's important that it's done correctly. So the best practice is to purchase the license in the name of the legal entity that's going to be protected by that license. So in the case of a partner setting up protection for a client, the license must be purchased in the name of the client. So this allows the proper setup of the legal requirements and protects the interests of all parties and reduces the risk of exposure to the partner through incorrectly assigned licenses. So when the appliance goes through the first time setup, it is registered under the account that belongs to the party to be protected. So if you're setting it up for an end client, it's going to be registered under the name of the end client, not the partner. This registration phase allows the assignment of the preferred license to the right appliance. Now, once the license is set, it'll remain even after a factory reset is performed. If you need to have a license transferred, it will need to be handled as a special support ticket, but it's something that's very rare. We don't really see this happen very often at all. And this applies to virtual appliances as it does to on-premise appliances. Okay, let's have a look at the device management functions of Orchestrate. Now, what I might do, should I use mine? No, I think we'll continue with this. All right, so managing your devices, it's easily done through the Orchestrate interface, which we're going to be covering more later. So from the deployments page, you can get a quick overview of the status of appliances, including system status, license expiry date, alerts and schedules, and you can also add integrated services. Now, as you drill down into a particular appliance, you get a more in-depth view of a single appliance. So this is covering things like your application status, system resource status, a view of the current schedules and associated reports, and the ability to manage the appliance directly through the on-appliance user interface without needing a fixed public address or a custom FQDN. What I might do, there has been some changes, so I'm going to quickly share my screen just to give you guys an idea on the changes we're looking at now. So those of you that have already attended, there might be something new for you here. So I'm just going to quickly share that window there. Okay. So here we go. So we're looking at our appliance here. You've got your manage control here. You can tell if it's online. We get the application status, so you can see which applications are running and which ones are not. This is all expected. We've also got some new updates here, so you can see the CPU usage. So recently we've been doing a lot of work in tuning resource utilization, and this is a new feature that's come out. So we are still working on this, but it is just an indication that we are developing the platform even further. Now here, you've got your schedules. So if you've scheduled a packet capture, you've got access to it here. Also vulnerability scans. You get an update on the schedule. So this one has been completed. Once the report has been compiled and actually published, you'll have the ability to view the report here in the Orchestrate platform. Okay, go back to the training there. Okay, so let's cover a few things that are new for 2023. So we now have phishing assessments. These phishing assessments, I mean, phishing is like a cornerstone of what we should be doing. It's very important and one of the most common ways that companies get breached. So we've incorporated these self-serve phishing assessments into Orchestrate to address this need to train end users and to responsibly handle this very, very common attack vector. We also have a new GRC compliance application. And this will be available. So it's not quite there yet. It's very, very close to being released, but it will be made available very shortly, and you'll have the end user able to track their compliance status, as well as the partner, as long as the partner is assigned as an external staff member. So there's just a couple of screens here. So it gives you an idea on what we're working on now. Now let's have a look at the Orchestrate accounts. The primary or main accounts are assigned to individual entities. So these, the partner, they've got an account and a client has a separate account. So this means that we can have that clear distinction between Crystal Eye appliances, incidents, reports, etc., making it easy to separate tenancies and their information. So we don't have that sort of that crosstalk or that, I suppose, contamination between business units. This also helps to enforce privacy controls, which are required by compliance standards. It's not best practice to create a partner account and then connect client appliances under the partner account. The client appliances must be connected to the associated client account. Now, the partner can still be set up, as I said, as an external staff member inside client accounts, and there's also that ability to link partner and end client accounts, and they can access it as if they were on the client account themselves. So let's go through the process of setting up a partner account and creating a client account and linking the accounts. So here's the scenario. We've got MSB from the Test MSP Co. And we've also got Carl Stummer, who's the CEO of the Test Customer Company. So the process is we set up our MSP account. So you should already have one now. If you haven't, I highly recommend you get on and get yourself signed up as a partner. Then you can start setting up your staff accounts. So these are typically assigned to your engineers, and you can use role-based access to limit their access to the different parts of the account. You can then set up the client account. You add the external staff account, and this is essentially linking the MSP to the client. So when you set up an external staff account, you're on the MSP account, and then you say, I want to add an external account, and you use the email address for the MSP account as a link, and then you assign the roles after that. Okay, sorry, I'll just move that. Okay, so what we're looking at here, it's a little bit squished down on my screen at the moment, so I have to see if I can expand that out. There we go. All right, so what we're doing here, we've set up a client account, and we are about to proceed to the dashboard. Now, when you set up a client account, it's important to know that there is a channel partner agreement. This is specific to channel partners or partners, and it sets out the terms and conditions. So it's everyone that sets up a new account, you will be presented with this, and you'll need to agree to it. Now, when it comes to adding staff, it's as simple as clicking on Add Staff. So you see that button on the right-hand side of the screen there. You click that, and you get the modal form popping up, and you just put in their first name, their surname, and email address. They'll receive an email, and they will then verify it. So just click on the link to verify, and then they log in. And so we're looking at the like staff member or like engineer account. So as you can see, they don't have much as far as permissions go. So all they've got access to is training. Now this can be changed by selecting different roles. So right now they've just got a training-based role. We've got security manager, technical manager, and billing authority. We are also tweaking these roles as well to give more granular control, and that is something that is in the process at the moment. Now, we're jumping back to the main partner account. Looking at the main partner account, you can look at your clients, and this gives you an overview on how your various client accounts are tracking. So you can see your number of clients, the number of devices, active licenses, and expired licenses, and licenses due to expire. So this gives you the ability to, at a glance, get a good lay of the land of the client accounts and which ones need a bit of attention. So if they're about to expire, obviously you're going to be giving them a call, say, hey, it might be time to renew. You check in to make sure everything's going great, and it usually is. All right. And adding clients. So this is a key part of our business. Like any MSP, it's all about adding the clients. It's really easy. Just provide a name and an email address. That end client will receive an email, and the email looks something like that. So it'll be coming from Red Piranha, but it's mentioning the MSP. So that way you can verify with the end client that it was actually sent. So we're also trying to train them about exercising proper security. Click the link to continue the registration. They perform the registration. So when you set up your partner account, you would have gone through this form as well. And once they fill in the details, they've been registered. And we also have an email saying that the test MSP has the MSP has requested to be added to their account as a client. So that way we're sort of respecting that MSP and client relationship. And I'll talk more about that in the Q&A section. Very important stuff. So once again, the client clicks on the link and we have permissions set. So are you sure you want to do this? And again, making sure that all privacy and security is taken care of. We say, yes, we accept, and it's confirmed. And now we're logged into the end client account. So this is Carl Stummer's account. You'll see his name in the top right-hand corner. Now he can now start to add staff or external team members. When you add an external team member, this comes back to our MSP as well. So your end client adds you as an external client. You get the email, you click on OK, and now that you've been added as an authorized or external account, you can now just quickly jump into the test customers or the customer's profile at the time of logging in. Demo walkthrough, what have we got? So, Orchestrate users. Okay, I will have to move a couple of things around again. I actually had my laptop screen die on me, so I'm shorter screen, so excuse me while I shuffle things around. I'm sure some of you would know what it's like. Let's see, that one there. Okay. I'll just get that up and out of the way. All right, so we're going to have a quick look through our Orchestrate users. Let's quickly jump in here. So we go to my settings, my staff. I've actually logged into my own, here we go. So adding staff, dead easy, and we can do things like edit roles and things. So let's have a look at editing roles. So these are the roles within our organization. So we can say, you know, this user will have access to all these different tools, and their view or their profile will be updated accordingly. So they'll be updating roles. Now, if we were to go and update roles to clients, you know, if we had a client, I actually should be logging into the other demo account, but yeah, you'd assign new clients and you'd say they have these particular roles available in the client. So if you've got an engineer that's particularly good with a certain client, you know how it works, you can actually set them up as a security manager, technical manager, or billing authority for that client. So that means that you as like a manager of an MSP organization, you can actually delegate towards your staff, which is incredibly important, especially for efficiency. Okay, sales and reports. Let's have a quick look at this. So when it comes to managing sales, your clients can actually perform self-service sales. Now, these self-service sales are done through things like ordering products. So you can order Crystal Eye 360 bundles, Crystal Eye XDR appliances themselves. So you can also upgrade your SIEM. You have the services we can order as well. So we've got the integrated services. This is all available from Orchestrate. And so these integrated services, things like backup, digital forensics that I've mentioned before. And of course, your standalone services. You just click there, there we go. And these are all linked to a particular Crystal Eye deployment at a client's premises. And we've also got managed services as well. So we do managed EDR. This is all of our ESAT stuff. But as you can see, like our standalone services, if you want to have things like network engineering taken care of by us at Red Piranha, we can do that. Incident responses. So if you've got an incident response with a brand new client, this is how we, most people win a client. They have an incident and they need to call someone to get things straightened out as soon as possible. We can help with that as well. So you can get us engaged from the very beginning. And of course, people ask things like security training or VPN or digital forensics. And of course, vCISO and eCISO, which we are also incredibly proud of because we've seen actual evidence of this working. We've got some really nice case studies there. Okay. Now, training. Training is incredibly important, and we've also included that in Orchestrate. So you can access training by clicking on the training button. So you get access to all of the available training services. Come on. Good old internet's a bit slow at the moment. So I hope we'll see that pop up in a second. Nope. Geez, I hope I haven't dropped off the face of the earth. I'm still here. Can you guys still hear me? Yep. Looks like it. Anyway, okay, so here's our training. So that's just caught up. So we've got our security awareness training course, very important. You can see how people are progressing with security awareness training. I don't know what's going on with the internet right now. There we go. So let's say, you know, I've got some family members. I've gone and viewed their progress. Oh, sorry, I've got them all signed up, so we can go in and view their progress. And I'll probably need to give Jess a prod to say, hey, do your security awareness training, so you can see how far they've progressed. So not only are you able to track your own staff, you can also look into your end clients and see, you know, who's been doing the training and who hasn't. So you can then follow that up, again, ticking a major compliance box, especially when it comes to cybersecurity awareness training. You can also do the same with our Crystallized Essentials, which, I mean, you're watching right now, and the Crystallized Certified Engineer. A word on this is being updated, and we will be doing a Crystallized Certified Engineer version 4.5 very soon. Check the events page for details. And okay, so there's that. All right, back to the slides. And give me just a sec and I'll catch up. There. All right. Now, no doubt, like me, as soon as you get your hands on equipment, you just break it out of the box. You don't worry about reading any documentation, and you just plug it in. You just go for it, because, you know, time is money. You want to get things done. I'm going to try and take this opportunity to let you all know that when you do get your NFR appliance, just plug in the WAN and the LAN interfaces and the power button. You don't need to plug in a keyboard. You don't need to plug in a display. It's all taken care of through the web interface. So you power it up, get everything plugged in, so you LAN WAN, and you open your web browser and you point it to crystalli.lan:81, making sure it's HTTPS at the front. And again, if you want to go the hard way or the easy way, depending how you look at it, HTTPS 10.10.11:81. Also, if you want to do remote management, just make sure that if this is going through a like a router where you're NATing, make sure you set up some port forwarding to have port 81, 22 and 443 available. This will not only allow you to perform remote management, but also will allow our support staff to securely access the appliance if we do need to perform any support tasks on your appliance. So keep that in mind. Okay, on to frequently asked questions. So these are common questions we get. And so we've got the common ones. So how long are logs kept? By default, it's 30 days. But the Crystallized Appliances, they've got extended storage options available at the purchase. And we've all, you know, we actually have more log storage than pretty much anything else on the market. So it is not unheard of to have 12 months or like multiple years of logging on the Crystallized Appliance, which is very handy when it comes to doing instant response. Now, is the memory or storage user serviceable? No. The software is configured at the time that we do the installation of the software at the factory, and this is done to match the hardware that's installed at the time of installation for performance and tuning reasons. So any changes to memory or storage could very well have adverse impacts on the appliance. So you might plug it in and find out that it's completely incompatible and it will stop working. Now, keep in mind, if you crack that warranty seal, you void your warranty.
and you kind of breach the Red Piranha terms of service. And this is, if you want to get really technical, it's under exclusions 2.11. Now, what is the throughput for a Series 25 and what does TST mean? If you've had a look at our Crystal speed guide, you'll notice that we've been using these metrics to measure performance. And this is also very useful when it comes to selecting the right appliance. So the throughput for a Series 25, we say line speed, or this is firewall speed, is 4 gigabits per second. With IDPS enabled, it is 1.4 gigabits per second. TST, or True Security Throughput, is 880 megabits per second. Now, True Security Throughput is when we have all of the features turned on. So, your secure web gateway, IDPS, automated actionable intelligence, it's just the proper security. So it's no point saying our firewall or our appliance supports the line speed, because when you start turning on services, that drops. So we don't like to sort of hide behind numbers that really don't apply to the real world. We try to be practical when it comes to speccing out our appliances. Now, just on the other appliances, just to give you an idea, the Series 20 has a line speed of 2 gigabits per second, IDPS of 800 megabits per second, True Security Throughput of 250 megabits per second. And then the Series 10, look, I'm not going to worry about the line speed and the IDPS. We're more interested in the True Security Throughput. That's 100 megabits per second. So our entry-level appliance that still has more memory and more storage than equivalent devices for entry-level applications will quite happily handle 100 megabits per second. So with your typical NBN connection, for your small office, home office, or small business, it will be more than adequate to service that full 100 megabits per second subscription. Now, the last one. This is something that's been brought to my attention that we probably don't express well enough. And as a former MSP, I believe this is something that's very important, very front of mind when it comes to MSPs. We understand the value of an end user to the MSP. And the question has been asked, what's stopping Red Piranha from sort of taking an end client? And I can say not only do we have our process controls with our staff, and obviously it's overwatched by myself as well, so I'm very mindful of this. But we've also got technical controls built into the Orchestrate platform. So if a client registers a new address, a new account using an email address that's already registered, it will automatically assign them to the partner, or it will send an alert where our CSMs, our customer success managers, will actually flag it and will investigate, and we'll make sure that the end user is assigned to the MSP. If that's still active, but we do check on these things. It's something that's very much front of mind for us. All right. Now, of course, we're going to be talking about support. Very, very important. We don't just ship you a box and just leave it at that. We've got ongoing support and ongoing monitoring. We have our support email, so that is support@redpiranha.net. We've made a change recently to our manual. It is now located at docs.redpiranha.net, and we've actually changed the framework around it as well. So I'm actually quite pleased with it. It's the performance is really quite fast. It's nice and lightweight, and it really gets the job done. So I'm very pleased to see where it is now, and I'm also very excited for the developments we've got coming up with the manual. Of course, every good cybersecurity company, or any good company, needs a forum. We've got one there. We are now becoming more and more active on that, and we do encourage a lot of participation from our partners and end users. So I'm also posting things like release notes there, or any known issues. So a very, very valuable resource when it comes to looking after your Crystal appliance or even Orchestrate.
And of course, we've got the ability for our partners and end users to request features. If there's something you think that needs to be addressed, feel free to drop it into the feature requests forum thread. Just an example, some of the things we're implementing as a result of feature requests, we have two-factor authentication coming. So when it comes to logging into the Crystal Eye appliance itself, two-factor authentication will be presented a lot like we have two-factor authentication implemented for the VPN application, so SSL VPN. We've also got things like limiting access to the WAN interface. So there is the ability, it will be coming soon, the ability to have access to the WAN interface through the user interface, like the web interface, that can actually be blocked, either like totally on the WAN side or everything on the WAN side except for maybe a couple of nominated addresses. There's another one. Oh, it escapes me right now. But yeah, we're actually very proud that we're quite proactive and we work well with our partners and end users. So if there's anything you see that needs improving, just let us know. Now on to next steps. The next step, if you haven't already, have a look at getting an NFR appliance. So NFR, not for resale. And I suppose the really important thing is for our partners is that this is done at cost price. We are offering it to our partners as cost effectively as possible. So we are making absolutely nothing on the NFR appliance. In fact, actually, no, we're making quite a bit. We're actually gaining a partner, having someone join our network. So we're very pleased about that. We've also got our Crystal Eye Essentials Module 2 coming up. So if you want to get your hands, I guess, virtually dirty, and you want to go through the process of setting up a Crystal Eye appliance, so you're feeling nice and confident when you unbox your very first Crystal Eye appliance ready to go, you can go and do Crystal Eye Essentials Module 2, which will be next week. And we'll be demonstrating, you'll have your first chance of getting onto the virtual training instances running version 4.5. So really exciting stuff there. Of course, if you are interested in sort of selling XDR, you probably would help to do a course. So we can step you through there. We can talk to your business development managers or customer relationship managers and sort of give them a good, I suppose, framework or pathway to just selling the unique selling points around Crystal Eye XDR. And of course, for your technical people, the Crystal Eye Certified Engineer, as I've mentioned, version 4.5 coming up very soon, so watch that space. Okay, here's the part where we throw open to the floor. If anyone's got any questions, I'm just going to quickly check. Here we go. One from Bruce. Can we move existing tenancies under Red Piranha?
So I checked on that one, Ben, and yes, you can. Get in contact with your account manager and we can work you through that process. We do have a managed EDR powered by Red Piranha and ESET Australia webinar coming up on the 13th of July also. So we've just dropped the events page links in there for you to register along to what you're interested in.
Any others? I'm seeing a couple of old names and new names in the people that are attending right now. So, you know, if you're coming back to ask a question, now's your perfect time. All right, while we're waiting, what I might do might be sneak peek time. What do you say? Always good?
Always good.
Something is
Always
up
good.
with my computer. I don't know what's going on. Hang on a sec, I'll just close that. There we go. I'm sure it's my laptop. It's just been causing me grief lately. All right, start sharing screen. We'll share that. And get that window there. Share that. Okay. So this is what we'll be looking at next week. So once we've completed our setup of a Crystal Eye appliance, you'll be able to start it here, your system dashboard, and then we've got our security dashboard, which is always the nice fun one to show clients. Well, it looks very impressive up on a very big screen. Right now I've had to change the zoom in order to fit the resolution we have to do these webinars on. Trust me, when you manage to blow this up, it actually looks quite good on a large screen. You've got your threat hunt dashboard. Very handy for tracking down threats. You can, in fact, set up profiles, and these profiles will allow you to look for threats just based on certain criteria. So let's see if I can bring that up for you. There we go. So you can set your filters and your groups and things, and then you can save it as a template. So, for example, the 3CX breach recently. So if you wanted to keep monitoring for any future 3CX related breaches, you can actually set up a filter and save it as a template, and then come back from time to time and have a look at what's been happening. So you can actually double check to make sure that the changes you've put in place have actually taken effect and actually having a real impact on the security of your network. The really cool stuff we've got, not in there yet. We have force field. This is one we always bang on about because it is so cool. Automated actionable intelligence. So this is using a lot of the telemetry we're gathering either from our threat intelligence team, but also from appliances that we've got deployed around the world. So you get a new appliance, you deploy it, it's actually contributing to the threat intelligence that we use when it comes to developing our reputation list. So bad hosts, currently standing at 470,888 unique IPs, and these IPs are automatically blocked and managed and updated on a daily basis, so you don't have to, which in its own, it's worth a price of admission. IDPS is quite extensive as well. We have, let's have a quick check on the rules we've got employed at the moment. So on this one, this is one of our 6 rule sets. It's got 57,337 rules. We've seen in some cases competition with maybe 8 to 12,000 rules. Could be getting a little further now. Passive encryption control. This is really cool. So IoT devices, very hard for us to manage and secure because we don't have access to be able to tweak these. They work in a set way. So we have to sort of manage them at the network level. So this tool, I'll try and make it as simple as possible because we are getting close to time. So you can set up your devices. They are all still sitting on my horribly designed flat network for demonstration purposes, of course, but they are set up in their own kind of like virtual network or virtual segment. And we can actually monitor the traffic, and it's been operating fine for a couple of weeks and we're happy with it. We can actually capture the secure state. So if there's any communication changes, so if the service on an appliance talks to a server in a different way, there could be change in protocol, could be change in address, destination address, it is actually picked up and is either alerted or blocked, depending on the way you've got it set it up. We've also taken our secure web gateway, we've reorganized it, so that's looking a bit better now. Compliance controls. Azure Active Directory. We are now able to leverage Microsoft's cybersecurity offerings. So this is something typically you'd need a professional one license, no, enterprise one license in order to access these threat signals. We are actually allowing you to configure the Crystal Eye appliance to talk directly to your Azure AD tenancy, and it pulls these signals down and it stores them on the Crystal Eye appliance. So you're not limited to the storage on your Azure AD tenancy. You can actually pull it down onto the appliance, and this allows us to do some pretty extensive logging. So right now, the retention period is 90 days. We are reasonably happy with that, but we're not resting. We are actually working on ways that we can extend that retention period out. So it gives you a lot of visibility over your Azure Active Directory tenancies. So you can look at things like, say, your OneDrive dashboard. If you can see if a file's been accessed, modified, uploaded, deleted. It's a huge list of things. You also got the same thing with SharePoint. You can audit your users. So any weird or funky activity, you can actually filter for it. and you'll be able to see things happen pretty much right away. And you also have that ability to go back and look at the history too. Super important. We've got data loss protection. We have incident response services built in. I mean, this is what makes XDR, right? We have our incident and event services, network backup. We got that as well. And this is all our 4.5 beta. So a lot of these features you'll already see when you get 4.5. There's just like a few little things coming down the pipeline that you may not see in production yet. A word on software updates. Our software updates are done automatically, with the exception of like your major changes going from 3.5 to 4 and 4 to 4.5. This is something that's set by selecting your preferred operating system. So that it's nice and easy to go forwards, and also if needed you can go back. It's dead easy. We actually had someone with a very unique setup with their Crystal Eye appliance, where the upgrade from 4.0 to 4.5 didn't quite work as planned, and all it took was to say, no, we're going to have to come back and do this later on after we do a bit more research. Clicked on set default for version 4.0, restarted, and it came up straight away. So there's no sort of fretting over making sure that you had the firmware reloaded again and make sure the configuration works. No, it was clicking a button and you're back to your previous version, which I don't know about you guys, but as a former MSP, it makes me feel way more relaxed when it comes to software updates. Let's see, it's UAD, DLP, vulnerability scanning. Vulnerability scanning, you can schedule it. It's just dead easy. I'll just quickly go through the steps here. Word of caution, when you go and do Crystal Eye Essentials Module 2 next week, you will have the access to the facilities, but I'm begging you, please don't, because vulnerability scanning is quite resource intensive, and because it's on a shared tenancy, if one or two or three of you kick off a vulnerability scan on the network, not only will it find nothing, but it's also going to slow everything down to pretty much nothing, because it's just going to chew up resources. So word to the wise. Okay. All right, that leaves us with about 5 or so minutes. If anyone's got any questions, please ask away. I'm thinking maybe all the demonstration of these really cool features, I've probably got everyone not thinking about asking questions.
Or you just explain things so well, Ben.
I mean, I'll take questions not related to security, I guess. One from Dana might be, how do I mute my speakers? Yeah.
Funny.
Okay. Well, looks like everyone's pretty happy with the way things are.
Yep, just a reminder about the events we've put in the right-hand side. Also, if you have any team members who may like to watch this webinar, reach out to your account manager. We can send on a link before it gets published. But yes, if we don't have any more questions, we might call it the end. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that sounds like a show, I guess. Alrighty, I'll kick off the music. Thanks very much for joining us, everyone, and look forward to seeing all of you next week. See you then. Bye.
Thank you. See you. Bye.